Hi, it's Dominic. Good afternoon, good evening, good afternoon, 5:30. Anyway, I just wanted to say hello, check in, and I wanted to tell you about my sort of path to MS, my diagnosis, because I was chatting with a friend today, Mark Webb, and Mark's in a wheelchair. He's really, really disabled. He's an astonishing guy. He's just got this attitude which I wish if I ever get ill like he gets ill or is ill, or the challenges he faces, that I can face him in at least the same way, with the sort of grace that he does. Anyhow, it's all different for everybody. If you're wondering what it's like, you've got MS, has somebody just done this to you? Maybe yes, maybe no. There's no way of telling. When I got diagnosed, I said, what's going to happen? And the neurologist went, that was 1994. It was pretty much a diagnose and adios. Anyway, back to the story. I was feeling quite fat. I used to be slimmer when I was younger, and I had a very active lifestyle. I did everything. I was army obsessed. I joined the army. Then went and I was a ski instructor, and the kind of things where you're just burning immense amounts of energy the whole time, so you can eat what you like. Then I got my first proper job as a drug rep in a drug company. You're just a salesman. Sounds fancy, but you're a business development executive, my favorite title. You're a salesman. And I was selling drugs to doctors, promoting them really. You can't sell them directly to the doctors, but you can promote their use. Anyway, I was feeling quite chubby. My weight had gone up because I've been on this incredibly long training course. And I had just eaten and eaten and eaten. And all of a sudden I had bought a lot of new clothes because I was getting quite... And I thought I need to do something about this. I've got to get a grip. And I've got to go running. I hate running, for the record. I really, really hate running. And I was jogging along, in the lovely suburb of London called Dagenham, or Dagenham, as some people like to call it. And I looked down like this at my feet when I was running, and I might as well have licked two fingers and stuck them in a plug socket. It was the most astonishing electrical sensation. It went from my neck all the way down, and then it stopped because I looked up again. I saw it, came home, probably had another curry. I lived in East London, incredible Indian restaurants there. If you want to get fat on curry. It's the best way to do it. Anyway, moved to Windsor, long story short, and thinking I've really got to get a grip on this. I'm really quite a chunky lad. And I went running again. I'm running through Windsor Great Park, looked down, bang, this incredible electrical sensation. It was no pain, just shocking, literally and figuratively surprising. It was really odd. And jog a bit more, look down, electrical sensation all down the body, from here down. It was just down to the arms, the fingertips, the whole lot, the feet. But you could turn it on and off like a switch by doing this. Turns out there's a lesion. You get a lesion. It's a classic sign, and I think it's a C7, the vertebrae in the back of your neck. And I had no idea what it was. And I was chatting to a friend. We were having a barbecue. She's still a friend. 30 years later. Maybe, 28 years later. And she's a medic. And I said, really awkward, don't know what to say. It's a party, you probably don't want people talking medicine to you. And long story short, I told her what it was, and she went, she had stopped running for a month, which was brilliant, to get a doctor's order to stop running. Boff, that was it. Yeah, running shoes, back in the closet. Can't run, doctor said not to. And she said, see if it keeps happening. So I'd occasionally check, and it would sort of happen. Sometimes stronger than others. And after a month, bing, still the buzzing. Appointment with the GP, which is the same as a family doctor. It's the British version. And he was a really switched on guy. I think many people aren't as fortunate. They get told to go away, it's nothing, it'll go away. My GP, it was luck, dumb luck. He was really switched on. And I remember reading upside down because he was writing the notes, and I thought, Le Hermit sign, interesting. Because I was a drug rep, I had access, I went to hospitals. In those days, there was no internet. No, not like we have now. No YouTube, no internet. So I toddled off to the library at Kettering General Hospital. Some things get stuck in your head. And I looked up the hermit sign. Again, long story short. It's looking a bit dodgy. MS. Nah, it's not me, you know. You're invincible when you're a young bloke. You just do stuff. You're not going to die. You know, that happens to other people. You can drive really quickly. You can ski really fast and stupidly. You can take huge jumps. You can stay up for days. You can get really pissed. You can smoke. I love a roll-up even now, but I don't smoke. But you can. You can take drugs. Smoke weed. Tried various things. Bit of a coward, really. So tried acid a couple times. Not that interesting, frankly. Tried cocaine. Really boring. Maybe I suffer from overconfidence. But the cocaine was like, yeah, so what? I'm sure somebody will pipe up and tell me it was bad coke, but hey-ho. Just generally, growing up in BC in Canada, British Columbia, it was virtually obligatory to smoke weed. So I kind of felt like I ought to do it. And being a ski instructor, even more so. I was at Lake Louise when I was 18, I think, and it was pretty standard. Anyway, I wasn't trying to alleviate symptoms. I was trying to get high, like everybody else, and make it less boring when the terrorists going, does this lift go to the top of the mountain? Well, if you look up there, yes, see it does. Those kind of questions, dealing with the general public. Anyhow, GP says this, I go look it up, it's not looking good. GP says he'll refer me to a specialist. I was very fortunate to have private healthcare through my job, and went to see a guy called, I think he was Professor Dafford Thomas, very sort of well-known, a high and mighty figure, and a neurologist. And I went to see him in a private hospital in Windsor, and off for an MRI at St. Mary's in Paddington in London. Good grief, you have no idea how noisy MRIs were. It was like they had got 3 monkeys, given them each a bottle of whiskey, a mallet, well, not a mallet, a steel hammer, a club hammer, and various sheets of metal. They were loud. Today's MRIs, I just think, yeah, it's really a case of old man going, it's not like it used to be. It was probably noisy, and it was huge as well, just twice the size of today's MRIs. Probably quite low res, but the next best, best thing since sliced bread in those days. So I had the MRI, then I had to go back to the hospital and have the lumbar puncture, which was, this is again, you don't know how lucky you are. I had to drop my trousers, so I just had my pants or underpants, as you call it, on. Sit the wrong way on a chair, so I was sort of bent over like this, and I made the mistake of looking over my shoulder, which if you're having a lumbar puncture, just don't bother, just let it happen. Yeah, because it was, and I'm not trying to scare you, it was an alarmingly large needle to me. I had only ever seen little needles on vaccines, so this thing looked like Conan the Barbarian's sword. It was probably nothing like that, but that's how it seemed in my head. And in it went. He insisted on doing it, and he said, you might feel a slight tickle as my right leg shot out like that. And he went, whoops, and I'm trying to be cool, thinking he's got this sodding great needle inside me. Really don't want to flinch. And he took the cerebral spinal fluid, which is the whole point of doing that, is they drain off some drips, I don't know how many mil it is, of your cerebral spinal fluid, because they look at something called the oligoclonal bands. You don't need to know this, but the way you diagnose MS is with a battery of tests. You can't just say it on one thing. So if you think you might have MS, A, don't wish for it, and B, you've really got to have a fair few tests. So you've got to have at least an MRI, a lumbar puncture, and I'm not sure if it's evoked potentials is what they call it. Essentially a full neurological exam from them, tickling your feet, sticking I don't know if you ever had those compasses and protractors that you had at school, but the protractors, which we mostly used to stab one another, and not the paper, but with the 2 spikes on, but they will put it into your foot very gently and just move it apart until it's getting wider and wider and wider. Yes, I know this looks rude. Until you say, yeah, you can feel 2 points. Because it's a whole combination of things. So being diagnosed with MS is not fast. It involves quite a few tests. And the results are never that fast because if things have to go off to labs for tests, it takes time. I'm sure if I had a huge checkbook and could just go, boof, there's 10 grand, make it happen, it might go a little bit faster, but ultimately it wasn't. I went to see him. I got the news. I kind of knew anyhow. My girlfriend at the time was into, into pharmaceutical research. So I think she just stopped her PhD and had decided to do a clinical research role. Anyhow, I kind of had this sort of access to other people, and I sort of knew what I was getting, but there's a bit of being a young man, like the blocking of mortality. You know, you're like, yeah, whatever. And I went to see him, and he said, "You've got MS." I went, "Yes." I kind of worked that out, and he said, "Oh, okay." I said, "Anything? Any advice?" This was pre-MS nurses, really. And he went, "Eat less red meat." And that was that. So that was me being diagnosed with MS. The rest of it's another story, but that was 1994. So there was no internet. There was nothing like that. There was just me sitting down with my brother going, I think I might be stuffed. And realizing that it was too late to buy critical illness insurance because there was no way I could swizz it now. I just ended up in jail, which is not where you want to be with MS, I imagine. And we were working out what kind of wheelchair would be best. And we were into mountain biking, so it was suspension, full tie, what kind of wheels you have, all that kind of stuff, because it's just really hard to take it seriously when it's not actually happening to you. It's a theoretical future event. And there were no DMTs in those days, so I just got on with things. Just stuck my head down and ignored it. And that was that. Anyway, more to come. Take care. Cheers. Bye-bye.